Hello, Captains. It's me, TONIK TZW, and as ever, work's been busy, and I'm trying to find time to progress my campaign and get a video edited every now and then and uploaded onto the channel for your entertainment. We're here in the Tier 8 French Premium battleship, the Republique. It's got some big guns, and we're going to put them to good use in this game. That's the setup of the modules that I'm using. I've got an epic reload booster there, not a legendary one, and we're running Zhao with Azule and Colorado there to reduce our reload and increase our grouping, with Scharnhorst to reduce our dispersion. So it should be fairly accurate. And we've got a tier 7, tier 8 game. We've got a carrier, a few battleships, a few cruisers, and just the one destroyer. Now, I play this game, and when playing battleships, I obviously have to change my mindset from that fast-paced, dynamic approach to the game that I have when I play destroyers. You really do need to have your head on a swivel and be aware of everything that is going on around you when you're in a destroyer. That isn't to say that you don't need to do the same when you're in a battleship. But from what I see in the game, most people that play battleships, they find that one spot and they sit there and they trade blows until they either kill the other person or they get killed themselves. And it's not a great way to go about it. You should always have an eye on the minimap as to what is going on. Now, our destroyer obviously does not have an eye on the minimap because he would have realized that obviously red team's destroyer has pushed straight into A cap, which means that it is highly likely that B cap is completely undefended. Now, you'll notice that, yes, I have left B cap because moving into the center of B cap would have put me into a huge crossfire in this ship, and I wouldn't have survived long. But we aren't going to run all the way to the flank because I'm looking at how the game is developing. The three ships there on Charlie Cap, or at least two of them are pushing in. I think the other one is supporting from range. But I'm going to turn around and I'm going to move back towards the center of the map because this looks like it's going to be a bow-in slugfest between the guys on A cap on blue and red teams. Red team are stacking there on that corner. And so I'm thinking, okay, if they're going to try and stay bow into the guys in front of them, and if the guys there on A cap are going to just hide behind that rock at the back, I'm going to put myself in a position where not only do I have cover, but I have the opportunity to get a flank fire on. I was a little bit disappointed in blue team in this game, not for the stupidity that's happening there on A cap, but a little bit for the guys on Charlie Cap for not being a little bit more aggressive in their approach to the game, because they are three ships versus two, and they are going to have the carrier supporting them across there. You'll see a chappie there, obviously with one destroyer. Russian cruisers are very, very dangerous, so I'm going to do what I can to let him know that we will shoot at him if we can see him. Our DD is spamming torpedoes. Red team have lost their destroyer, which is great. That Chapayev gets a beautiful tickle through the citadel and loses a large chunk of his health. And looking here, I'm thinking, okay, if I can't get over at the Iowa, then he can't get at me. And I accidentally snatched the controller there and fluffed that second shot rather than drifting it. Snatched it and it jumped about half a mile to the left, which is why I'm going to miss that Chapayev completely. But he's still backing up, and I know that he is the risk to my destroyer. I know that he is playing more cautious, having lost 50% of his hit points. But I'm getting ready here, thinking to push through B and keep this flank fire on. Particular point of attention here, you can see the smokestacks of the Chapayev were running towards the bow. They've now gone straight up and are moving to the rear. That means that he is changing direction. Always worth keeping an eye on things before you pull the trigger, but we barely scratch his paint with that salvo. But now I've got a Republic there, not quite broadside, but we are going to put our next salvo onto him because he's got a lot of hit points and he is very dangerous. You know, I'm going to take some chunks off some ships in this game and he is going to change his mind about sailing broadside. So I'm in quite a good position here, but we've lost everything. Everything that was sat out there bow tanking has been lost apart from one, and these guys are going to push through now on the carrier. I'm hard spotted, and I'm thinking, okay, who has got me hard spotted? Is it this Megami? He is pushing through, or is it that Atlantico that's in front of me? But look there, the guys on Charlie Cap have had that cap under control for what? Over 5 minutes now, and yet they are still taking their time in pushing through. Another shot out at the Megami, using the island to screen myself from the Republic and the Iowa, and I can afford to take a few hits from the Atlantico, but the Megami takes another tickle on his Citadel, and somebody else is going to pick that one up. I think I know exactly who it is from the results at the end of the game. But Red Team now, I think, have realised that their push has not been successful, that they are losing too many hit points. We get a free shot on the Republic, watching as he fired his guns, but he only fired the one turret because the other turret is going to come in our direction. Looking at the Megami there, but he goes down. There's the Republic's rear turret. We've got a Carl the 14th Johann off to our left-hand side. We know he's got torpedoes. We know he's got secondaries, but we want to push this cap. And it is only now that those guys across on Charlie Cap are pushing anywhere near this side of the map. But we have a pincer move now on Red Team, because the guys from Charlie, if they push through to the left side of the minimap, so the left side of this island as we're looking at it, they can squeeze from there. If I want to, I can push out from the right side of the island here, and we have got those guys absolutely squeezed. Yeah, I forgot to say, I'm obviously running an epic booster on this one, which reduces my reload by 2% for every 30,000 damage. And as we're on 124,000 damage, that is being reduced by 8%. So running, excuse me, that fast reload build is just bringing our reload down even more. And in a ship this size with guns that hit hard, being able to throw, let's say, 3 full salvos out in relation to another ship's 2 can give you an advantage. But one of the things that I always say about people that build in for range and accuracy, is okay, yes, it's great that you've got big guns on your battleship. It's great that you're built for max range, but you have to be able to hit something at that range if you are going to sit back on the map. There is no point being a big battleship with huge guns if, when your shells land, they've lost so much velocity that you are literally a woodpecker against the other ship's armor. Our Atlantico learns the hard way about sailing out in front of 2 battleships. The carrier is now going to draw his attention to me, and it's like, I know there's an Iowa, there on the other side of that island, but it's not spotted yet. The destroyer is on the capture point, and the question is, why can that battleship not be spotted by anything other than the carrier? And the answer is it's because the destroyer is probably sat in a frickin' smoke screen, which is awesome. It's awesome for him. The reason he's sitting in a smoke screen is probably because he's fired that wall of skill there across the cap and he doesn't want anybody else taking his kill. I haven't got a single kill yet. I've got one assist. That's it. I didn't say this was going to be a cracking game or a 4 kill high cal confederate and all this, that, and the other. What I did say is it's going to be a pretty huge XP game, but we are going to finish with a high caliber, but we need to get a shot on this Iowa. And the carrier is still out here harassing us. We've got a 400 point advantage. We've got two caps to one cap that has been flipped. But again, the Iowa disappears, and I can see the Summers moving, and I'm thinking that's because that smoke screen is still out there, and he doesn't want anybody taking his kill. He's playing his own game across there. And to be frank, I think it took him 10 minutes or more than 10 minutes to go anywhere near that capture point. Most of the rest of Blue Team in battleships and cruisers had captures or assisted in capture flags before our only destroyer did. But here we go. I know he's bowing to me. I put all my guns out. There is our high caliber, 147,000 damage. But again, somebody else takes the kill. I've got one heal left. I've got 15 seconds left on my engine boost. And yeah, we've got a damage control available. So now it becomes a matter of running the carrier down. You'd think at this point in the game that the destroyer would be a little bit further forward, wouldn't you? Of course, that's where you'd normally find me at endgame, having played the caps and spotted for the team. But when I'm in a battleship, I'm obviously reliant on somebody else in the little boats. And when you're playing solo, you're not always guaranteed the same level of support that you try to give others. Now, thankfully, the carrier decides that he's not going to try and torpedo me. He's going to try and torpedo the cruiser, which lets me get my engines up to full speed and keep pushing this guy towards the back of the map. There he is. We gave him a bit of a tickle earlier. He's reversing away from us, and we are just going to rotate through the turrets there. We're up above 150,000 damage. As I said, we haven't got a single kill, but we have got the high caliber, which is 1/3 of the total hit points. Now look there, you'll see that there are 125 points being made available to me for my progression on the campaign. And you think, well, how did you do that, TONIK? There is the answer: 3,708 base XP, beating the destroyer who broke through 3,000. But our next two players also broke through 2,500 each, and then the two players below them broke through the 2K. So all in all, that was a pretty solid team game, even though there were a few frustrations and a few potatoes thrown into the mix as well. So I hope you've liked that one. You know, TONIK in a big boat rather than a little boat, and actually playing a decent game of it. So don't forget, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, leave a comment, let me know how you think I played, and as always, until next time, take care of yourselves and goodbye.